Okay, we're back here in the bottom half of the third inning, and unbeknownst to us, it looked like we had our stream drop out a little bit. So just to bring you up to speed, it's the bottom of the third, and it's the bottom third of the Bigs lineup hitting, still trailing 2-0 to Alvinston, and Caleb Keeshig on the mound. First pitch strike to Stephen Pittman. Pittman with a 3-bouncer to third, on to first from Aaron Stocking, and 7 up, 7 down for Caleb Keeshig.
Keeshig's done a good job here. He's let his defense do the work for him, not worried about racking up a whole lot of strikeouts, but keep that ball down, let him pound it into the soft infield, and let your D do the work for you. So good on Keeshig for making his life and his defense life just a little bit easier.
Yeah, 4 straight ground outs now for the Alvinston Indians. Ferg Griffith steps in, the first baseman. Takes ball 1, a drop ball outside. That's a drop ball for a strike in the outer half, 1-1. And the other thing, Lance, when you're getting ground balls, keeps your D into it, and they're more on their toes for the next one.
You're right. Not that the D doesn't appreciate a strikeout to make their lives easier, but when you talk about an infield like this is really, as an infielder, what you want. You want your infield to be soft. You're going to get true hops, but they're also going to be stay down, and that allows you to be more aggressive defensively in charging those balls and getting the balls that you normally may not be able to get to.
Griffiths with a ground ball to third, Stocking on to first, and an instant replay from the Pittman ground ball, 2 down.
And that's the thing. And in particular, you talk about the corners. They can come in a little more comfortably knowing that if it's hit on the ground, it's not going to be something that's going to take their head off. So you got a little bit of the thought process there that will allow your D to be a little more confident.
So that'll bring up Kenny Goss, the left fielder, and he's going to flare one to short. And very quickly here in the bottom of the third inning, it is 7-8-9 going 1-2-3. And the Bigs are still scratching their heads. We're going to head to the top of the fourth. Alvinston will look to solve Mark Power. Okay, Jamie Shields leading things off in the top of the fourth inning. Mark Power back on the mound, and you said during the break a second ago, Lance, if it wasn't for that error, the Bigs are in a 0-0 game, but right now they're down 2 and they're halfway through.
Well, you look at the job that Mark Power has done, and it's been his D that have let him down. Those are 2 unearned runs that you're talking about there, and unfortunately that's the difference here now in the fourth inning.
Drop ball, and Shields takes a strike on the outer half. So the East Hants Mastodons, who just played here, are now playing over on the next diamond against Saskatchewan 1, the Bullray Rustlers.
No rest for the weary, that's for sure.
Strike 2 swinging for Shields, and Power and Avery have synced up here on the outer half of the plate to these left-handed hitters.
Most definitely, and like you said, without that speed bump in the first, Mark Power has been pretty good.
0-2, Outside drop ball, hoping to get Shields to chase. Power trying to avoid that cardinal mistake of ripping an 0-2 pitch down the center.
Well, it's always good. If you're going to waste it, you got nobody on base, make sure it's out of the zone. Now, you still want it to be a pitch that is going to be tempting to the hitter, but you don't want it to be too tempting.
He reaches for the 1-2, fouls it straight back. Shields went down swinging to end the first inning where Alvinston scored their runs. And there's been nothing since for the Indians. Chopper out to short. Meyer backhands. It comes up throwing. Griffiths with the stretch. And Shields is retired.
And hats off there to Mayer picking up his defense there and making a play that was a tough play. And you figure that that's the way Mark Power got into trouble in the first inning. This time around, ground ball to short, and his defense backs him up and gets the out. So always a different outlook when the leadoff man is retired, and a good start to the inning for Mark Power and the Bigs.
Yeah, Paul Meyer goes in the hole to pick up that ball in the backhand, comes up firing. Bang, bang play at first. Here's Aaron Stocking. Foul ball off the instep of Avery. One pitch from Power. Bunt as they'll try anything to get a runner on here. Stocking sends it back to the screen, and again Power working ahead 0-2.
Well, he's been working ahead on quite a few batters, and that's been his advantage. And again, when you've got Brian Avery behind the plate there doing a good job of sort of steering the ship and working your young thrower, and he's able to recognize the things that are working, the things that aren't, and he's stuck to the things that have been working for him.
Rip down to third base. Murphy gets dirty onto first. And the left side of the infield bailing out Mark Power here to the delight of the hometown crowd.
Well, they must have heard us talking about the D and how much they've let down their pitcher, and two outstanding defensive plays now, one by the shortstop, the other by third baseman, and that's the reason why the bases are empty here for Andy Triest.
And you know, there was a defensive change that we didn't get. Kenny Goss is at second base now for the Bigs. Shane O'Brien was taken out of the game. And out in left field, I think that's Felix Squires wearing number 4. Yes, it is. So that one wasn't announced here in the park, but Shane O'Brien, after the 2 errors, was removed from the infield. Tough day for Shane. 0-1 to Andy Triest with 2 down. He drives a bunt. Murphy in on it, and Griffiths was charging. Triest was inside the line, and they're giving Triest the bag, and Coach Jeff Kirk is coming out saying, how is that interference when he's inside the line? Now we're going to get some help quickly in here from the umpires. Ferg Griffiths is a fiery competitor. I don't know how that is interference on Griffiths.
Well, I think he's got a legitimate case for sure. If you make contact and you're within fair territory going down the first baseline, there's a reason why there's another semi-box that's usually done on the diamond, and that's because the runner is to run on the outside.
Yeah.
And Triest obviously ran on the inside. The collision occurred inside the line. So I don't know how you can call interference on that, but that appears to be the call. Triest is not moving from first base.
That is, in my estimation, something at least you want to talk to the other umpires, because that wasn't even close to the baseline. Griffiths was a good 3 feet or more inside. And now Jeff Kirk is getting an explanation saying somehow that the base runner takes precedent inside that line. That's a new one for me, but those guys know better.
Well, and again, and I'm not an umpire, don't claim to be an expert on the rules either, but I'm not quite sure, A, I agree with that call, and B, if that is the right call, period.
Yeah, we're going to have to get clarification from our brethren in blue. And Brian Avery, who's played at every level, still doesn't agree. Griffiths was charging the bunt. Murphy was charging the bunt.
So I'm not sure. Do you give Andy Treese a hit on that, or?
Well, it's ruled as interference, so I believe that's an O for O. But again, I'd have to double check because it doesn't come up that often.
No, actually it doesn't, and this is probably a good time for Kyle Smith to chime in. Being an umpire himself, he certainly is our version of a rule book up here, so we miss you, Kyle, but not really that much, just for your rule book.
Just right now, right? Yeah.
I'm sure you understand that. I'm sure he knows where I'm coming from.
0-1 is the count to Tyler Pauli with 2 down, and Treese the runner at first.
Oh, Monday morning.
Rise ball outside half, 0-2. So again, Power working ahead, shaking off the disputed call on the Treese bunt. And Pauli's going to loop this out into center field. Treese is on his horse with 2 down. He goes right into third, standing up, and it's runners on the corners with 2 down for Craig Lyons.
And we'll see if the Indians can take advantage of what I think is a bit of an early Christmas present for them.
Well,
as Treese with good speed, and you knew that he was going to be on the move on contact, and give Pauli some credit. That was the stroke we saw in the first inning, and now again here in the fourth.
First baseman number 87, Craig Lyons.
So Nick Shales' day 2 at the Canadian Senior Men's has been better than his day 1. He's hit a 2-run home run off Scott Life on the other diamond, and the Mastodons have a 2-0 lead.
Well, that's just Nick Shales. So all I can do is shrug my shoulders and go, well, that's kind of what we expect from Nick Shales. An all-world player like that, of that caliber, you give him something that he can hit, and he goes on a bit of a tear and takes over the momentum from his earlier game into the second game, and that's one of the benefits to playing back-to-back.
Absolutely. So 2 down, runners on the corners for Craig Lyons. He struck out and reached on an error. Takes a drop ball outside for strike 1.
Good test here for Mark Power. He's done a good job of settling in. I don't know if he can really afford to give up another run here, so going to be important that he bears down here and gets this out.
Yeah, definitely not the way Caleb Keeshig is doing things. Off-speed drop ball outside, 1-1. Changeup fouled off the foot of Lyons. Now the clock says 2-2. My gut tells me it's 1-2. Is that what you have as well? Okay.
I've got 1 and 2 on my mental counter, but my mental counter has been known to be a little shaky at the best of times.
I don't know either. I know there's 2 strikes for certain, and I think it's 1 ball, absolutely. So
I'm pretty sure it's a 1-2 count here. So.
Ball outside. And now a foul ball comes bounding into your screen from the other field. So after some rain this morning, Lance, things have, knock on wood, settled in. The skies are somewhat light here as we get into the evening hours.
Well, you being local, I kind of figured that you'd be able to help us out with the rain forecast. And like you said, all you told me was, if you're happy with the weather now, wait 5 minutes.
Fouled straight back. And with the 3-2 count on the clock, if I'm Alvinston, I'm running the runner on first base, but there's been no indication from the umpire whether it's 2-2 or 3-2. Oh, now it's changed back to 2-2. So we were right. Fouled straight back again. Lions right on those two pitches from Mark Power.
Good job, though, by Power to get that one in on the hands, because you're right. He was right on the pitch timing-wise. Might be a good time to pull the string here, as clearly Lions has got the timing of Powers down.
For sure. He's geared up right now. And he must have heard you, Lance, because Brian Avery put down the three fingers. Strikeout goes Lions to end the threat. So it was an eventful top of the fourth inning, but the Bigs will get out of it. Now Caleb Kishig back to the mound, having faced the minimum through 3. Paul Maher leading things off for the Bigs here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. And the Bigs are still looking for their first hit off Caleb Kishig. Maher takes ball 1 high.
Well, Kishig's been good. Him and Jamie Shields have done a good job of maneuvering their way through this Bigs lineup and keeping them off balance as, like you said, facing the minimum 9 through 3.
Drop ball outside, so Kishig now behind in the count 2-0. And the interesting part about this is Kishig has let his infield take care of the last 6 outs.
Well, he knows. Keep the ball down, and tough to get hurt when you're keeping the ball down and they're pounding it into the ground.
He keeps that one down as well. Maher gets a quick glance back to the home plate umpire. Doesn't agree with that, and big difference from being ahead 3-0 and being in a 2-1 count. Change up. Maher's going to foul this back off his body, 2-2.
Well, what Kishig has done is he's only used that rise ball as a bit of a decoy, and he's only used it in certain situations and certain counts. The drop ball's been his go-to pitch and bread and butter. You throw in the change in there, and these guys don't know what's coming if you're standing up there as a member of the Bigs.
A little bit of a flat rise ball. Maher gets a piece of it, sends it well on to diamond 2 to interrupt the Bullray Rustlers East Hants Macedons game.
And clearly, judging by Kishig's reaction after that pitch, that you know that the rise isn't his bread and butter.
Goes down, and ball 3 yelled out from behind home plate by today's home plate umpire, Mr. Mike Semchuk out of Alberta. And ball 4. So again, I put the curse on somebody. Kishig walks Paul Maher.
Well, that's kind of what you do, Chris.
It is what I do. Maybe I'm cursed. And Jeff Kirk coming to Serge Laflamme. And it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter for Johnny O'Reilly.
Well, and that's the thing. We have to make sure that our audience understands that we don't get the official changes here. They go to the official score booth. So we have to sort of pick up the changes as the game's going on. And if we can overhear, great. If not, we have to kind of wait.
Well, it's going to be Nick Pittman, who starred for the Newfoundland and Labrador junior team in Tavistock.
Nick Pittman.
And he is playing for the Bigs here. A lot of junior guys, much like Kishig and so forth, are getting the chance to play here at the Senior Nationals. Great for their development.
Well, Kishig, you look at Tyler Pauli, of course, another guy very prevalent in the junior ranks. And because there's such a gray area in the game of fastball where once you leave the junior ranks, you're automatically thrown into the wolves with the big boys, it would be nice if there was just some sort of way that guys could become a little more adjusted to the speed, and this tournament and some other tournaments are perfect to do just that.
Absolutely. Yeah, a few years ago, junior went from 23 and under to 21 and under, and it's been a while now, probably approaching 10 years, but those 2 years make a lot for development of a young ball player.
Absolutely, and you look and, you talk about, okay, pitching-wise, exactly when does a pitcher come into his prime? Well, he's certainly not in his prime at 24, 25. Usually when you hit your early 30s, that's when these guys have already mastered the art and learned how to pitch as opposed to throw. When you talk about position players, you don't necessarily have to worry about the way they are defensively, but now you're facing some of the best throwers in the world who, of course, they're seasoned. They've already got the book on you. You don't have the book on them. So there's where the advantage is, and hence the reason why there has to be some adjustment period.
So it looked like Paul Maher hurt himself running to first after the walk or something. Anyhow, Peter Kavanagh, another junior player, has come on to run for Maher. Pittman shows bunt, pulls back. Kavanagh has a look around. Nobody covering him at first, so he took a healthy lead.
Well, if you're a member of the Bigs, you're hoping that Paul Maher is okay. He's done an outstanding job at short, and you certainly don't want to lose him.
1-0 pitch to the pinch hitter, Nick Pittman. Looks like he was brought in specifically to get that bunt down, but he takes a drop ball for a strike.
We'll see here if Nick Pittman will commit. And Nick, of course, good hands, good speed, and usually junior players are pretty fundamentally sound.
He gets it down. Great sack bunt, Pittman. And Kavanagh round second, too far. He is out. And the junior player himself got a little bit excited out on the base paths. A perfect sack bunt, but Kavanagh's doubled off. 2 down.
Well, there's the flip side of the coin to youth and exuberance, and, a great job by Pittman to get the bunt down. That was a high pitch, got it down beautifully, perfect bunt, but just took too much liberty rounding second base, and good heads-up play by the defense to throw behind and get the runner. So base is clear now, a whole different scenario now when you're facing the number 3 hitter.
So 1-3 the sacrifice, and then 3-6 catching Peter Kavanagh off base, and now what looked to be promising is 2 outs for Jordan Graham.
Well, and if you're Caleb Kishig, you're looking at your D and going, thank you guys, good job, good heads-up play. He's certainly doing his job, and his defense has definitely got his back.
So now back to a face to the minimum for Caleb Kishig. Hard drop ball on the outer half to Graham. He takes it for strike 1, 1-1.
Leading off for the Saskatchewan Rusters is the first baseman, number 73.
Same pitch, same result. Graham says, what am I supposed to do with that?
Exactly what he did with it. You got to take that pitch. If you're not prepared to take it the other way, then there isn't much else you're going to be able to do with it.
1-2, 2 down. Kishig fouled straight back, and we'll do it again.
Well, that was an awfully sweet 1-2 pitch, and you got to figure with the bases clear, Kishig's going to want to stay away from the meat of the plate and make sure that whatever the batter swings at is not in the strike zone.
Well, meat of the plate and the meat of the order for the Bigs. Jordan Graham, the number 3 hitter. Ooh, That one was just a little bit outside, but was on the same plane as the other two called strikes.
Good nibble, and again with a 1-2 count, you got that leeway to at least waste one, potentially two pitches, and try to get the batter to hit your pitch as opposed to him hitting his pitch.
Graham calls time. Steps back in on his own watch. Inside drop ball. Caleb Kishig with the poise of a veteran. Down goes Graham looking. And again, facing the minimum. Caleb Kishig has faced 12 batters through 4 innings. The Alveston Indians lead 2-0. So back here for the top of the 5th inning, and not good news for the Bigs as Peter Kavanagh, well, I made that sound pretty bad, but Paul Marr's out of the game and Peter Kavanagh remains in at shortstop. Nick Pittman stays in right field for Johnny O'Reilly. So Nick will play in right field. His brother Steven is in center. And Mark Powers back on the mound for his 5th inning of work. And he once again will face Travis Jones, Jeff Lyons, and Brent Thompson. So a big loss at short for the Bigs.
Yeah, no pun intended, but you're absolutely right. And tough to replace a guy like Paul Marr in the way he's played defense here in the early going. So hopefully his injury is minor and he'll be back out there sooner rather than later.
First pitch is a ball. And just realizing here that we hadn't updated our inning for a little bit. So that's on me.
It's all right. We promise not to blame you for absolutely everything, Chris. Just 60 to 70%, and that's just based on the fact that, you know, you're a rookie.
Hey,
other than that,
big shoulders, big shoulders.
Right, man. We figured you can handle it, so it's okay. It's something that we just thrust on you anyway.
You're not the first person to blame me for something. How's that?
Well, you know, you get a wife and kids, and trust me, you'll know it's not the first thing you get blamed for.
2-0 pitch to Jones, and he swung at it like it was a 2-0 pitch.
Well, he took a healthy rip at that for sure. Pulled the head out, though, so awfully tough to make contact when you don't keep the head down and level through the zone.
3, 4, 5 hitters for the Alveston Indians. Drop ball, swing and a miss, and I think you could take your advice on that one as well, Lance.
I agree. Well, same pitch, same result, so no real reason to change a whole lot. If you're Mark Power, you're having some success. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
This one chopped back to the mound. Power will roll it underhand to Ferg Griffiths, and one down in the top of the 5th inning.
Good job, good pitch. You consider that Travis Jones takes a pretty healthy hack at things, and to get him to hit a slow roller back to the pitcher means you've done something right. So hats off to Mark Power, who, like I said, besides those 2 unearned runs, he's been outstanding here through 5 innings.
So one away, the left fielder, Jeff Lyons, steps in for Alveston, the cleanup batter. Takes that drop ball, first pitch. This one is ripped to the right of Stephen Pittman. He goes over, he boots it, and Lions didn't miss a beat coming around first, so we're going to call that a single and an error on the center fielder, Stephen Pittman.
Well, second into the ball game for Jeff Lyons. He's been one of the few that has not been intimidated at all by Mark Power and did a good job of getting something he liked, and he hit that ball hard.
So with one down, Brent Thompson will step in. Thompson walked his last time around. So this is a big time in this game now for the Bigs and Mark Power. No action in the bullpen right now. First pitch swinging, it's a single up the middle. Rounding third and coming in to score, standing up is Lions. And an RBI single for Brent Thompson, 3-0 Indians.
Good piece of hitting from Thompson. Wasted no time. Jumped on the first pitch that he saw and found a hole. And delivery time, so a clutch hit. And that will extend the Indians' lead.
And how often do you see it, Lance, when a team has a chance to do something like in the last inning, a base running error by Kavanaugh, and at this level, it's come back to haunt them right away?
You're absolutely right. You talk about capitalizing on opportunities. Miscue happens in that inning, come back-to-back hits, all of a sudden, you're not down 2, you're down 3, and that's a big third run.
Well, yeah, and you give up the chance to score one and cut the lead down, so. But good for the Alvinston Indians. Michael Legis-Root is up, a 1-1 count with Thompson the runner at first, just one out. Jones, the leadoff hitter, grounded back to the mound. Drop ball, quick throw, Avery, and just getting his foot back in was Brent Thompson. There's a couple of times we've seen Avery with the quick snap throw.
And that's a tough throw to make. You're thrown behind the batter, and it's great that sometimes you get a chance to shield, but when you look there, again, of course, the batter on the right side, so Avery with a clear line to get it down the first base, just a fraction of a second slow.
In the dirt, nice pick, backhanded by Avery.
But you know what that does is that will keep the runner just that half step closer to the bag. Won't be taking such a generous lead when the ball's released. So sometimes that does a good job just to give you that fraction of a second more.
2-2 pitch. Chopped to the left of the second baseman, Goss. He turns 360 to make the play. 2 down.
Good play by Goss, but again, I think the benefit of a nice, soft, slow infield has definitely played a role here. As some of the balls hit, they would be normally shooting through the hole for a base hit.
Yeah. Instead,
guys are able to run them down or dive and make a play and keep it in the infield.
It's made for some nice infield plays there this afternoon, though.
The catcher, number 61, Jamie Shields.
Speaking of nice plays, last time Shields was up, he grounded out to the then shortstop Paul Marr. And again, the process continues. A drop ball in the outside corner from Mark Power to start an at-bat. But, like your favorite saying, if it ain't broke. He goes right back out there. Shields will chop it foul. 0-2.
There's a big hold here for Power if he's able to get his team out of it. Just surrendering that one run, that will at least be a small victory on the big scale of things. You give up another one, and that could potentially snap your back.
2 down. Brent Thompson's the runner at second. 0-2 pitch. Rise ball with a little taken off of it. One of those little floaters that sometimes you end up waving at 0-2.
And that might have been what Power's thinking was. And again, good 0-2 pitch, though.
Drop ball outside. Shields chases. The Alvinston Indians will score a run on a hit, and that will do it on 2 hits, rather, and they lead 3-0 after 4.5. Catcher Brian Avery leading off for the Bigs in the bottom of the 5th inning. The 4, 5, 6 hitters due up, and you never want to say it's got to happen now, but it's got to happen soon here for the Bigs.
Well, I don't know. I think it's got to happen now. Something's got to happen now for you, for sure. You got to, at the very least, chip away at this 3-run lead.
Well, they've got to find a way to solve Caleb Kishig out there on the mound. He's having a show. First pitch to Avery is low for a ball.
Well, he's staying within himself, and that's a good thing. He's not caught up in trying to ring up a lot of strikeouts, and he's just doing exactly what he needs to do. Allow his defense to back you, and don't overthrow.
Change up in for a strike. It was high in the zone. At the top of the zone, I guess you'd call that.
Well, with a hitter like Avery, you have to be very careful. And I think when you look in this lineup, this guy's certainly got to have an asterisk by his name as far as someone to pitch to very carefully.
2-1 as he takes the drop ball outside. Avery, the kind of guy that can get an inning started for you, or if you get him out, it's a big feather in your hat for Kishig. 3-1, though, he's behind in the count.
Yeah, fortunately with a 3-run lead, you've got a little bit of leeway in knowing full well with him being the leadoff hitter that he's not going to be able to hit a 3-run shot.
Oh, he was trying for the 3-run shot with nobody on.
Or the 5-run shot, whichever one. Either way, Avery almost came out of his shoes on that cut.
Full count pitch upcoming. That's going to say a lot. Kishig shakes off the first one. Oh, he goes back with the drop ball. Good move. Changeup was too obvious, I think, there.
Oh, you think it was too obvious, eh? Okay.
Now, sometimes a veteran like Avery will swing out of his shoes
it's still a
to
guessing
set that
game
up.
when you talk about a guy like Avery. You know, you're absolutely right. Maybe he took that healthy cut expecting that change coming.
Drop ball. This is hit for Hopper to second base. And Tyler Paulai is having a great day out there. Another one down. Great job by Kishig as well.
Got a good hitter to pound that ball into the dirt. You saw, sounded really good off the bat, hard hit ball, but once it hits that slow dirt, it slowed right down. Allowed Paulai even to put a knee down to make sure the ball stayed in front of him.
Which, Lance, is crazy. I know this is your first time here, but this is the fastest infield I had ever seen in my life growing up. So the rain and the diamond dust they put on there, or whatever you call it, the dry diamond, to soak up the moisture has certainly slowed down the infield today.
Well, playing in Toronto, there's such a variety of diamonds. You have gravel, you've got red dirt, you've got dark dirt, you've got straight hard gravel, so a little everything. So depending on where you play, not only do you have to get the scouting report on your opponent, but you have to get the insight on what the infield's like as well. So this infield, a quick one when it's dry, a slow one when it's wet.
Down looking goes Mark Power, and Caleb Kishig is making a believer out of me.
And you look at it and you think, wow, he's really ringing him up. But just 4 strikeouts in the ball game, very efficient when you talk about what Kishig's done. And hats off to the Indians. They've played flawless defense.
They have. He's let them play defense, but yes, you're right. They've still got to finish the play. With 2 down, Chris Murphy, the third baseman, steps in. He grounded out to second the last time around, and Kishig just keeps going out there with that drop ball, and he's threading the needle on it right now.
Well, he's getting the calls, and he's working that part of the plate. And again, if it's working for you, go with it.
He went right back again. This was just a little bit low on Murphy. 1-1.
Well, you like to do that. You get the corner, then you're going to try to extend that corner just a wee bit more.
Murphy flares this foul on the right side. Foul territory on the other field as well. And the place is starting to fill up now, Lance. And you can feel a bit of the air of anticipation as people are starting to believe, hey, the hometown boys looking pretty good yesterday. Let's see what they got tonight.
Well, those hitmen, boy, that's exactly what they were yesterday.
Oh.
Man, oh, man.
Murphy looks at a ball low, 2-2. 27 runs the Galway Hitmen put up.
Well, I think what was so impressive was that they did it 1 through 9. It wasn't just one guy doing all the damage. Now, mind you, Bradley Ezekiel was outstanding, and a few others were very consistent. But you're talking 1 through 9. Those guys had the sticks working yesterday. And again, the benefit of playing back-to-back games today, we'll see how that transpires and plays itself out.
Murphy watches the rise ball out of the zone. And to your point earlier, haven't seen a lot of those from Kishik. Trying to get Murphy to chase 2 and 2. Now it's a full count. Oh, he loses that drop ball out of his hand, and Chris Murphy works a 2-out walk. Bringing up the center fielder, Stephen Pittman.
Number 34, center fielder Stephen Pittman.
He grounded out softly to third base in his first time around, Lance.
Well, it seems like anyone that pounds it in the dirt's grounded out softly here today.
Pittman looks at a drop ball in the zone.
Well, that's really been Kishik's bread and butter pitch here. That drop ball outer half to the right-handed batters.
Again to third base. Pittman on the run. Stocking's throw gets away from the first baseman. And around to third comes number 9, Chris Murphy.
I don't know if you're going to score that. I guess you got to score that an E5 based on the throw hitting the dirt. But
yeah, it's tough.
It's a tough play, and you know what? We talk about the Indians and how tight their defense has been here. A little bit of crack in the armor now, and when you look at opportunities, you're not going to get anything bigger for the Bigs than right here, right now.
Well, Ferg Griffith steps in. He's batting 8th in this lineup for the Bigs, but for his local team, he bats right around the 4-5 area. So Fergie has some power. Kishik drop ball outside to the left-handed hitter Griffiths. And notice Kishik's been kind of working his legs a little bit the last few pitches. Wonder if he's getting tired.
Well, that could be a case too, or that landing area could be changing, and you're not quite sure if he feels comfortable on the landings.
Griffiths drills this one into left field. It is foul.
It'll be interesting to see on 2 counts, how Biggs responds with this chance, their first real opportunity of the ball game. And when you look at Kishik, how does he respond where there's a runner now on third base for the first time?
1-1 count, 2 down, runners on the corners. Fergie Griffiths at the plate. Ball outside. Griffiths watches it right into the glove of Shields. 2-1. Looks like there's some action down in the, or they're anticipating action in the Alveston bullpen. Not much yet.
No, it looks like a lot of anticipating.
High and inside. Griffiths sells it a little bit. 3-1.
Or a lot. I think maybe fooled by that pitch. That's what it was, but it was inside, but not that far in.
3-1, pounded in the dirt, just foul down the third base line. So full count, 2 down. Over at first, Stephen Pittman will be on the move.
This might be the make or break point here for the Bigs. If they can cash in a run, all of a sudden they're back in this ball game and put the pressure back on the Indians.
Full count to to Griffiths with 2 down. Pittman will be on the move. Griffiths flares this. It is going to be caught by Tyler Pauli. And the Alveston Indians and Caleb Kishik will get out of the trouble here in the bottom of the 5th. We'll head to the 6th with Alveston still holding on to a 3-0 lead. So Aaron Stocking leading off in the top of the 6th inning for the Alvinston Indians. And you can see our pal, Mr. Dean Sullivan, on the yellow ladder fixing our behind the backstop camera angle. And without Dean, we wouldn't be on the air here this week, Lance.
No, you're so right. And I think it's been a combination of all the volunteers and the host committee and what they've done here. The hospitality, outstanding. Everyone's been working tirelessly to keep the diamonds up and playable. And, of course, Dean's his saving grace in giving us and the viewers out there a much better angle of the game so that they can appreciate what's going on here.
Yeah, so hopefully after this one last fix, we will have the backstop angle for the rest of the week, as that ball is off the plate for Mark Power. 2 balls to Aaron Stocking as he leads off the top of the 6th inning. Alvinston lead 3-0, scoring 2 in the first, 1 in the 5th. And the Bigs, as has been their Achilles heel all week to this point in their 4th game, just can't get the offense going. 2-1 chopper foul down the third base line.
Well, in their defense, of course, Caleb Keeshing hasn't been very accommodating. Neither has the Alvinston defense. They haven't helped the cause at all for the Bigs.
No, much like you talked about teams coming from out of town, not getting the favorable schedule. No one's here to do anyone any favors in between the white lines.
Definitely not.
2-2 count to the leadoff hitter Stocking here in the 6th. Strike 3 looking, 1 away.
Now batting the center.
Good pitch from Power. And I'm not quite sure if Stocking was sitting and waiting for something else, but boy, oh boy, no sense in him looking now, because that was a good pitch from Power.
Speaking of people who have made it happen for us here this week, Miss Janet Boland has just stepped into the broadcast booth. Janet, the mother of Shane and Ryan. I'm sure you've heard their names before if you're a fan of Fast Pitch, and we wouldn't be on the air if not for Janet either. So Andy Treist is up, and he reached via a controversial interference call his last time around.
I would have to agree. Controversial is right. And I keep waiting for Kyle Smith to chime in somewhere, somehow, with his opinion on the rule. And haven't heard from him quite yet.
Tree swings and misses. Foul tip, actually, on the rise ball for a strike. Yeah, what happened if you weren't with us? He laid down a great bunt. Chris Murphy charged from third base. And when everyone looked up, we were all watching Murphy. Ferg Griffiths was charging from first. And when we looked up, Griffiths and Treist were in a pile, but 5 feet inside the line. And as the base runner, he should have been outside the line. And the umpire gave the benefit of the doubt to Andy Treist.
Yeah, that's about the way it went down, for sure.
1-2 count on Treist right now with 1 away. Top of the 6th inning. Coming up next here on Diamond number 1, Pepperell Field, it's the defending champion Galway Hitmen, and they will be playing Saskatchewan number 2, Chetty's Pretty Boys. Looks like we've got a Travis Nevin, Sean Cleary matchup coming our way.
Well, I don't think the Hitmen have played a full 7-inning game here in this tournament. Their first 2 games, they piled up so many runs that they were all 5-inning ball games.
And you know, sometimes at a tournament like this, when you've got a favorite and a 4-time champ, as Treist goes down looking, the second batter to go down looking this inning, sometimes the favorites don't see the top pitchers in the round robin because teams know they need to take their one best shot come the playoff round.
12 strikeouts for Mark Power in this ball game, so he's certainly done a good job, as has his catcher Brian Avery.
This guy's been hot at the plate today, and Tyler Pauli.
Well, Pauli is definitely a spark plug, and that's why he's inserted at the top of the lineup, and he's doing what a leadoff man should.
2 for 3 with a run scored and a double, and that doesn't even begin to talk about how good he's been defensively here this evening.
Good wheels, good range, good hands.
You take those guys any day.
Future team general.
He'll take a healthy swing there and miss at the drop ball.
I think that's one of the things that Todd is going to work on as he sees better pitching is discipline at the plate and recognizing pitches in and out of the zone.
He's got a change behind the plate for the Bigs as well. Now catching is Ryan King, another one of the young players on the Bigs roster. And it looks like Mark Power may have wrenched his lower back or his midsection there on that pitch. He gives a thumbs up to the dugout saying, I'm going to finish this one out, boys. Still no action in the Bigs bullpen as it's been a two-arm show, Mark Power and Jordan Graham. And that's, we talked about it a bit yesterday, Lance. Two is certainly not enough arms to come to the national tournament with.
Awfully tough to win based on that. When you, in particular, when you know you've got 2 games a day, you're assuming that you're asking each guy to carry you for 7. And that's a daunting task when you look at the talent that you're up against on a daily basis.
1-2 the count to Pauli. Swing and a miss at the inside dipper. And one more time, Mark Power strikes out the side. The Bigs have 6 outs left to try and figure out Caleb Kishig. They almost did in the 5th. We'll see what they've got here in the 6th. So 9-1-2 for the Bigs in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Kenny Goss will lead off, and Paul Morris come back out on deck after being subbed out for Peter Kavanaugh earlier in the game. So that's good to see. And Kenny Goss swings through the rise ball from Kishig. Strike 1.
Well, again, Kishig using that rise ball early in the count. It's either his temp pitch or his waist pitch, and then he comes back with his bread and butter, which is his drop in the outside corner. So easy to see why he's up in the count, quick 0-2.
Yeah, coming back with the honey right there. And Kenny Goss just staying alive, catching the bottom of that rise ball. Up, down, up so far. Update from diamond number 2. The East Hants Mastodons are looking for their second win of the day as they lead 3-1 over the Bullray Rustlers. Low ball 1 for Kenny Goss. On the mound for Nova Scotia is Kyle Crawford, who started this morning and was replaced by Justin Schofield. Donnelly Archibald over there too, but I don't think he's done a lot of throwing yet. Goss chops it foul. So Kenny Goss fell behind in this count 0-2 early. Now he's in a battle with Caleb Kishig. Not any longer as he goes down looking, and Kishig continues to roll here this afternoon.
That was a really good sequence, and I'm going to give Kishig some credit, but I'm going to give Jamie Shields some credit too for keeping in mind the way they've kept these batters off balance early on, and Kishig is sort of regrouped and continued to mow them down.
So Palmer, who walked his last time around and left with, it's hard to tell, looked like something with his legs anyway. I'm not
well,
a doctor.
You know what they
so.
say, they don't call it a lower body injury, right? I don't know where in the lower body it might be, but it's from waist down, so that's what you classify it as.
Well, it must be because from waist up, he just took a great twist on that ball from Keeshig. 1-1 is the count.
Whatever the ailment is, it certainly didn't hinder that swing that he took.
So 1-1 count with one away in the bottom half of the sixth inning for the Bigs, who are the home team in this game. They're trailing 3-0 to the Alvinston Indians, Ontario number 2.
I can make some ads here. What? I can make some ads. Just Google it.
Mar takes another big hack at the drop ball, 1-2.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here's what it is.
Safe out, man.
Okay. Gotta modify this.
Pop up to the right side of the infield. Pauli makes the call and makes the out.
Another good pitch there from Keeshig as he forced Mar to. I mean, the changeup looked very sweet coming in, but it was on the inner part of the plate and down, and made Mar sort of have to adjust his swing, and that in turn turned that into a very lazy pop-up and an easy play out there for Pauli.
So another pinch hitter in the 2 spot. O'Reilly had one at bat. Pittman had one at bat. An excellent sac bunt. Now Johnny Doyle is going to come off the bench. Doyle is a power hitter, and that is his definition. He'll take some hacks here for sure.
Well, I know you don't judge a book by its cover, but if I had to venture a guess without knowing, I'd say that he could probably hit the ball a long way.
Well, he's definitely your typical guy who swings hard, and with that he'll rack up some strikeouts. But when he makes contact, it's usually a screamer. And they throw him a changeup and just out of the zone. Nice pitch from Keeshig. You're right. Great job by Jamie Shields in there tonight. Doyle swing and a miss, got tied up, 1-2.
Well, big hitch in that swing, and when you hitch down before you go forward, you lose that fraction of a second. So unless you have incredible bat speed, it's not likely you're going to get a bat on that ball.
Ball 2, low. 2-2 with 2 down. Jordan Graham on deck. Should Johnny Doyle reach? And that is a ball. So nibbling on the 2 corners there is Keeshig, and he doesn't get a call on either side. Full count. But that one is too good. Doyle was trying to sell the walk. Jordan Graham's going to have to wait till the 7th as 1-2-3 go the Bigs in the bottom of the 6th. We'll move on to the top of the 7th inning after this. Top of the 7th inning here from the Caribou Complex in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, the 2016 Canadian Senior Men's and Masters Men's Fast Pitch Championships. The Bigs, Newfoundland and Labrador number 2, are trailing the Alvinston Indians here in the top of the 7th. Alvinston sending the 2-3-4 batters to the plate. Leading off is Craig Lyons, and he tries to drag a bunt that he fouls over the fence.
Not necessarily a bad idea. Lay one down again with the soft infield. Easy to deaden that ball, but you also keep the defense awake. And again, the Bigs, a little shaky defensively early on, but they've tightened things up as this game's gone on.
Change up. Powers used that well today.
Hasn't used it a lot, used it in the right situation, and he's pulled it out of his pocket at least a couple times an inning, which keeps that in the back of the hitter's mind.
0-2 count on the first baseman, Craig Lyons. Reached on an error and struck out 2 times. Foul ball. Griffiths gobbles it up. We'll do the 0-2 again. So coming up next, the 6 o'clock scheduled game between Chetty's Pretty Boys of Saskatchewan and the host, defending champion Galway Hitmen. Rise ball out of the zone for a ball. But Power stayed out of trouble by working ahead of most hitters here this evening.
He has, and when he's needed to, he's gotten the big pitch. But you're right, he's made a habit of working ahead, and that's where he feels most comfortable.
Now even with a 2-2 count on Craig Lyons. This is lifted into left, heading back, and settling under the ball is Felix Squires, 1 down.
Good job out there. That ball was hit hard, but tailing away. So a long run out there. But a good job of doing a bit of a semicircle and riding himself to make the grab.
Actually, I said that was Felix Squires. That's the 3rd left fielder of the game. Andrew Evans is out there. And I think we have a pinch hitter for Travis Jones as well. Brian Johnson is in now, batting for Alvinston. Drop ball for a ball. 1-1 count on Johnson. He chases upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Now batting number 20, Brian Johnson.
Johnson played right field in the game last night against the Galway Hitmen. Started this one on the bench. And drills this through Kenny Goss at second base. And he's running to second. Wow, great speed. That catches the right fielder off guard, and Johnny O'Reilly, who's re-entered out there.
Wheels, never broke stride, didn't hesitate one bit. And I'm going to have to give that an E4 without a doubt, as That ball certainly should have been handled.
Yeah, that was on a line at Kenny Goss.
Well, he's probably not he's probably not in the lineup today because he's so tired from chasing balls yesterday. As Hitman must have pounded out I don't know how many hits.
Oh man, unbelievable.
I know the fielders in that game got plenty of action.
So one down brings up Jeff Lyons with a runner on second base, a two-base error. That was created by the speed of Brian Johnson. It's amazing how he hit that ball as a screamer and then just kept going around to second base, forcing Johnny O'Reilly to make a play that he couldn't make.
And he really didn't even need to slide. He could have went in standing up. That's how fast he was.
This one is ripped into right field, and Johnson's got a score on that one. Not even a throw from the outfield, 4-0 Alvinston, and an RBI single from Jeff Lyons.
Big run there, a little bit of insurance for the Indians, and some clutch hitting from Lyons as he's done a lot of damage. That is his third hit of the ball game.
So 4-0 now, and if the task wasn't hard enough for the Bigs, it just got tougher. Brent Thompson steps in. He's having himself a day as well. Actually, yeah, that's Thompson.
Well, again, you field that ground ball, and that hit isn't a worry for you. You field it, you're out of the inning, no worries, and instead now you're still out here struggling with one away and a runner on.
Another one ripped at Goss. He catches this one and doubles off the runner at first, Lyons. Tough day to be Kenny Goss out there with a couple of bullets sent at him. And the upshot of it is the Alviston Indians tack on an insurance run heading to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be the 3, 4, 5 hitters for the Bigs, right where you want to be, but they're going to have to try and make some noise. So, bottom of the 7th, and it's last chance for offense.
Leading off in the bottom of the 7th.
Joran Graham leads things off. Brian Avery on deck. Mark Power is due up third.
Joran Green.
So important time here. Caleb Keeshing trying to shut the door here. Sometimes it's always tough for a pitcher at the beginning and then tough to close the door at the end. So he's done a good job in between.
And I'm just looking down my scorebook here. Do you have any hits given up by Caleb Keeshig on your scorecard? Because I do not.
I'm looking on my scorecard, and as far as I'm concerned, he's got a no-hitter going. He's surrendered 2 walks, and that's it. Everything else has been a ground ball or a strikeout. Not even a lot of balls in the air. And I'm looking here at 1 pop-up, 2 pop-ups to second base, and a fly out to center. That came all the way in the first inning. So a good job by Keeshig, and yeah, he got a no-hitter going right now.
The only question is the official scoring on that grounder by Pittman to third base. So I don't know if point streak is up, if we could check that, but unofficially a no-hitter going for Caleb Keeshig right now.
And either way, very effective, and that's really the bottom line.
2-1 pitch to Graham is a rise ball under the hand, strike 2. Jordan Graham fouls that off to stay alive. Jamie Shields, he nearly took that off the knuckles. He just got his hand out of the way.
One of the many occupational hazards
Yes.
that occur behind the plate.
Two to Graham. And no hitter is in no doubt anymore as Jordan Graham singles to right field, and I'm the worst. I'm sorry to the Kishig family.
And I'm going to put it on you too, even though I helped and I was an accomplice.
Man, oh man.
Now batting the catcher, number 24.
Well, leadoff man aboard. That's exactly what you wanted if you're the Bigs. Still got a huge hill to climb, but certainly the start you wanted.
Jeff Kirk is going to, I think, bring in a pinch runner here for Jordan Graham. Now, Graham's a designated player. He can have the flex run for him. We'll see if that's what they do. Shane O'Brien was the flex to start the game, but he came out early. And yes, they are going to do that. So Andrew Evans, who came in the place of Shane O'Brien and is now the left fielder, is the flex player. He will run for the designated player in Jordan Graham. So you got to have your toes ready over there on the Bigs bench, I tell you that.
That's for sure. Couldn't agree with you more.
So nobody out, and Brian Avery, the batter. Nice pitch. You could see the spin on that from here. It was a curving drop ball in for a strike, 1-1.
Well, Avery gets a hold of one here, and it's a different looking ball game in the 7th.
Changeup is foul back.
Good time for that, as you saw Avery way out in front. And anytime you can get a good hitter like that to shift all his weight onto his front foot well before the pitch gets there, you know you're doing something right.
1-2. Andrew Evans, the runner at first. Nobody down here in the bottom of the 7th. Avery, a sharp grounder. Nice hands. One retired, and the ball's thrown away, but great hands over there at shortstop by Brent Thompson. Wow.
Great job by Thompson to cut down the lead runner. Got to look at Pauli, and I tell you, that's some pretty impressive footwork to be able to clip that bag on the way by, taking that good throw.
49, Mark Power.
So Mark Power steps in, runner on first, one out. He chops it foul to the third base side. We've got an update from Legion Field, diamond number 2 between the East Hants Mastodons and the Beauvais Rustlers. It's now 3-3 in the top of the 5th inning. Justin Schofield is in to pitch for East Hants. Mark Power gives this a ride to the left center field gap. It is off the warning track. That's going to score one runner in Avery, and Powers into third with a stand-up triple.
Good piece of hitting there. Again, sometimes awfully tough to get the final 3 outs, and Caleb Kishig has some more work to do here. Luckily, he had a 4-run cushion. That, of course, now is just 3.
No activity in the Alvinston bullpen. Michael Legis-Root, the designated player, was up throwing earlier. That was up throwing, not throwing up. Big difference in those two.
Might want to be specific about that, eh?
Chris Murphy.
So that'll bring Chris Murphy to the plate.
Well, now and for the first time all day, the players now are going to have to contend with the sun as it peeks through the clouds, and always a welcome sight.
So Murphy's up with 1 run in, 1 out, and the pitcher Mark Power on third base. Murphy takes ball 1 low, a drop ball. And now if you're Caleb Kishig, you might start to feel a little bit nervous. This is a soft ground ball to second. Paulai will take the out, give up the run, and there's 2 down and the bases are clear.
And a good job, and Tyler Paulai very poised there, knowing that you're playing for outs now. You still got a 2-run cushion now, and you're playing for outs.
So that brings Stephen Pittman up with 2 out. And Ferg Griffiths on deck. So there certainly is the possibility for a single
Stephen Pittman.
and a shot to tie this game up. And now Serge Laflamme, the off-field official, was over conversing with Jeff Kirk about one of his multiple changes, I'm sure. Serge walking away with a smile on his face. You see him there at the bottom of your screen, so he's probably running out of paper down there. Stephen Pittman with a hefty swing through the rise ball. That's a strike 1.
Either that or some of these umpires aren't exactly thrilled about the long trip they got to make changes.
Pittman swings through a rise ball, strike 2, and yeah, you really see the sun creeping onto the field. Kishig looking to end it here for Alvinston. And he does. Down goes Pittman swinging. He tosses the bat. And the Alvinston Indians will withstand a 7th inning rally by the WMC Biggs Newfoundland number 2. And that does it. Alvinston with an impressive game, and it started from the mound.
Certainly did, and you got to give Caleb Kishig and Jamie Shields credit. The battery did a good job of mowing down the Biggs hitters and keeping them off balance. So outstanding, and the question will be, can they follow that up tomorrow as they are back in the hunt here at the Canadian Championships?
Well, the Bigs fall to 0-4. They'll have 2 games tomorrow with a chance to crawl into that last playoff spot, but it's not looking good considering they've still got a couple of big teams on their radar. Alvinston goes to 2-1. They'll play another game tonight as they are right in the thick of it here in St. John's. We'll be back in about 20 minutes for the Galway Hitmen and Chetty's Pretty Boys.